please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Captain's log, subdates 230127.4. Something isn't right. The delegation of spoons look oddly fork-like. I've put the Arcadia on brown alert and will put the Makos on standby. Apparently, brown alert requires a ship-wide changing of bulbs. Hello everyone, welcome to the second exhibition of stupid people for this week. Yeah, I know, we've had extra sources and I thought, well, I don't want to leave them because they're all really stupid. So we're doing an extra video. You're all welcome. Today we're going to start with Dr. Saeed Mian, a 36-year-old scientist who worked for King's College London. He was, during his time there, a research fellow. However, he developed repetitive strain injury because he worked predominantly in the labs, and this repetitive issue he had could not be resolved in any other way that didn't involve him leaving and then suing King's College London. And no, I'm not joking. Saeed Mian sued King's College London for £50,000 because he was left in pain due to the RSI, which also created anxiety because conducting experiments, which if you want an accurate result you do at least 3 times, meant he had to use horrible little devices called pipettes. And this squeezing of a pipette was too much, and the repetitive strain injury for this poor 36-year-old man was too much for him to bear. I'm 37 and I don't understand this. Are you sure you didn't just masturbate a bit too much? When I was in college, my lecturer, said to us if we had issues with RSI, we would go to her for help. Many of us asked her for assistance. She refused to help us after that. The field that he was an expert in is stem cell research. Considering the nature of the research it entails, it is not surprising that issues would arise because of the level of the experimentation and the use of the dreaded pipette. Now, King's College have admitted a breach of duty, but did say that Dr. Mian failed to alert them in time that he was suffering at work. His legal team even went so far as to claim that by using a pipette, squeezing the rubber bulbs with his thumb, it required a significant amount of pressure, and he would do this task for lengthy periods without rotation or a break throughout the day. It's called science. It doesn't have a conscience. Sometimes you're in an experiment that is very time sensitive. You are left with very little option in this, Mr. Snowflake. Sorry, Dr. Snowflake. At time of recording, this has yet to go to trial. It is set for a trial. The date is not fixed. Lawyers for King's College say that it should not have to pay any compensation because he had failed to report in time that he was experiencing symptoms as a result of his work and carried on pipetting despite suspecting it was the source of his problems. In this instance, I side with the college because when your issues arose, you didn't then take it to them to explain the issue. You switched hands and caused the same problem in your left hand. Rather than seeking assistance, which they could have accommodated for, you did not. Lab assistants are very much a thing, you know. There are in fact systems in place that would permit aides to come and do a job that you are unable to do anymore. A novel concept, I know, but by all means, roll your eyes, like I am. For the sake of what Dr. Mian does now, he works at the Francis Crick Institute researching interactions between stem cells and bone marrow in cancer patients. A very interesting and important research. And I hope you continue to do well. But I hope you continue to do well without the £50,000 you're claiming you deserve, because I don't believe you deserve any of it. Next, I'm not entirely sure if this was actually a thing sent out by the Metropolitan Police, but we're going to look at it, consider it an honourable mention. Tweeted by the Free State NH. In the UK, where free speech isn't a thing, people are receiving letters like this for the things they say online. Any pro-liberty folks across the pond who have had enough should consider coming to New Hampshire and helping us build a future where things like this never happen. Included is a letter to somebody called Mr. Goddard, dated the 19th of December 2022. On the 4th of August 2022, you posted a tweet on your Twitter account. This tweet contains a video of Wembley Way and commentary from you regarding the rainbow pride flags which represent the LGBTQ community. These comments are targeting specifically the LGBTQ community and would be considered grossly offensive, thus being in contravention to to Section 127 of the Malicious Communications Act of 2003, I therefore require you to contact me to arrange a voluntary interview so this matter can be further investigated. If I do not hear from you within 10 days from the date of this letter, an evidential case file may be submitted for consideration of prosecution. If this is real, I'm not surprised. That's how sad things are right now. As this allows us to segue onto a lawsuit, we're now going to go to a woman in Canada who got a bit sozzled and decided while slightly sozzled to drive while drunk and crash into a house, which in turn caused an explosion, which is leading to a lawsuit up to $10 million in damages. She believes that the owners of the venue she was attending are to blame for this. This happened in August of 2019. Daniela, the woman in question, was driving home from a Marilyn Manson concert at the Budweiser Gardens Arena in London, Ontario. After drinking at the show, getting behind the wheel, she crashed her Ford Fusion, which is registered to her dad, into a brick home somewhere else, in turn rupturing a gas line that in turn led to a massive explosion that destroyed 4 houses and injured 7 people. That explosion led to further homes being damaged via falling embers. The entire neighborhood had to be evacuated. The damages caused in that neighborhood was estimated between 9.8 and 14.7 million Canadian dollars. For her involvement, Daniela pled guilty to 4 counts of impaired driving and was sent to prison for 3 years in 2021. However, Daniela was not done. She and her father Sean filed a lawsuit against Ovations Ontario Food Services, the company that distributed the alcohol. They claim that the libations purveyor shares liability for the blast on the grounds that staffers ejected Daniela from the venue while failing to take steps to ensure she would not drive home. In addition, Danielle also alleged that Ovations had served her alcohol while aware that the bargoer was intoxicated, accusing them of putting profit before safety, and that the resulting damage was caused or contributed to by the negligence, breach of duty, breach of contract by the bar. As reparations, because of course reparations are involved in key here, they believe, Daniela and Sean, that the booze distributor is responsible for any awards or judgment amounts resulting from multiple court claims levied against them by the victims of her mistake, her cock-up. You know, the one that detonated 4 houses and then destroyed others from falling embers. I think it's a novel idea that they think, for even a moment, that they are entitled to any contribution or any reparations from Ovations. The answer is no, they're not responsible in the slightest. There is that thing where perhaps one should help when someone is clearly impaired. However, the onus will always remain on you. You chose to go there, you chose to drink too much. You are responsible. You went to prison for it because you pled guilty. You agreed that you were responsible. If you didn't believe you were truly responsible, you would have pled not guilty and fought this to the end in a court of law. So moving on from that, we're going to talk about the Daily Mail and Sam Smith. There is still very much a let's report on every tiny minute detail concerning Sam Smith in the Daily Mail going on. It is tragic at this point. For example, no one in their wildest dreams ever said this. Why? Because Sam Smith was mocked for discussing a rumour that they had heard about themselves, that they are secretly the singer Adele, but in drag. Now this particular thing came to light courtesy of a sit-down with Drew Barrymore, and that because neither Sam Smith nor Adele had been seen in the same room together, this is where it came from. Further saying that if you slow down Adele's voice, it does actually sound like Sam Smith. So how do you think the internet responded to this once they heard Sam Smith utter such absolute bollocks? Nobody ever in their wildest fever dream while drunk and high on opioids has ever said Sam Smith is Adele in drag. The voice for sure pitched sounds like it, but physically, even a blind man wouldn't make that mistake. One thing is, hey, they sound similar, and another is, Adele is Sam Smith in drag. Not quite the same. This all comes not long after Sam Smith had gone on Jimmy Fallon in a black dress. Now this is important, because now in a black dress, we can compare the two. I don't think either look like each other. I think Sam Smith might well have too high a hairline, at the very least. The beard is very similar though, don't you think? Moving on to the second article. Sam Smith has revealed that they have the opposite of body dysmorphia after finally learning to love their figure. The singer, who is non-binary and uses gender-neutral pronouns, which by the way, has to be referenced in every article ever discussing Sam Smith, said how they struggled with weight issues as a child and feared judgment after entering the music industry. That just tells me you are more hungry for success than you are about accepting who you are. If you are naturally a pleasantly plump individual, then you are a naturally pleasantly plump individual. At least if you maintained your convictions earlier on, as opposed to being desperate for the attention from the offset, people would see you as a leader and less like a moron. Now, for those who don't know, body dysmorphia is a mental health condition where a person spends a lot of time worrying about their flaws in appearance. Some people often confuse it for narcissism, which may well apply to Sam Smith. Now, an important point to add actually comes from Sam Smith's mother, who said that as I've got older, I stopped caring what people think as much, which is often the case because as we are younger, we tend to seek approval. We tend to try and push our way up a ladder to try and make it easier as we get older, because we have very idealist interpretations of things. This could well be the case with Sam Smith. It doesn't explain, though, why the Daily Mail is so addicted to producing content concerning Sam Smith in the first place. The avatar of non-binary must have at least 5 to 10 articles daily written about them by the Daily Mail. How tragic. One last honourable mention before our final subject goes to Anthony Lafredo, a 33-year-old man from France, who is more commonly known as the Black Alien Project. Why? Because he has turned himself into an alien, or a reductio ad absurdum version of one, through multiple surgeries and tattoos. This is what he looked like before, and this is what he looks like now. Should I put a trigger warning on this? The man has removed his ears, he has removed his nostrils, he's removed fingers, so he can look like a black alien. And because of that, restaurants now won't serve him. What a shame. I guess you're going to have to buy your bread at a better boulangerie, one that can accommodate for a guy who I'm sure gets all the ladies moist. The final subject concerns football. As somebody that was once a goalkeeper for several years in college, secondary school as well, and university, I take great issue when I see a goalkeeper dive. And yet, today that is what I'm going to show you. The goalkeeper in question is David De Gea. He's actually not a bad goalkeeper, to be honest. But in a match against Arsenal, this is what happened. As a goalkeeper, that entire area is yours to command. The player can loiter there, and all you have to do is take 2 steps to the right to avoid them. You don't have to use your tunnel vision to think that if you're in command of that area, you can act like Rivaldo and dive to the floor at very first opportunity to try and delay play in a match that was 2-2 at 85 minutes. You are wasting time that would inevitably end up in extra time for no good reason whatsoever. As a former goalkeeper, I take great issue with his performance. Stop embarrassing us. We goalies don't stand for this nonsense.